You fun in Brazil?
Pretty good. I mean, I'll be a little tired this morning. Just woke up literally 15 minutes ago, but other than that, pretty good.
What are you thinking about this fight, right? Obviously, Gilbert's a serious talent, probably one of the most underrated guys in the division. Are you here to sort of show that you're both the most underrated two in the division?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're both fighting for a position at this point. Like, I know his goal is to eventually get to another title shot. My goal is the same as well. It just so happened that he and I happen to have to clash for that position right now. When I initially called him out after my last fight, it wasn't for anything else other than the fact that he was the number 5 guy, and it got me closest to where I was trying to go. So going into this fight on Saturday, I know what's at stake. I know what this fight brings, and I'm ready for all of it.
Are you sort of expecting the crowd reaction to sort of not be on your side? Is that something you've had to care about in training, or is it just something you're like, once we're in there, it doesn't matter?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, I've been to Brazil 3 times prior to this to fight here, so I kind of know what to expect from the crowd. But to be honest with you, once we get going, once punches start flying, you kind of tune all that out anyway. Once we get locked in with one another, locked in the cage, it's all about business at that point. So the crowd noise kind of tends to fade out, and you don't pay attention to it as much.
What do you get with a win here? You know, he's already saying he's got names like Bilal Muhammad, Hamzat, title shot after this. What about you? I'm sure you want those same sort of names. What do you plan with a win?
For sure, we're not looking too far ahead, but immediately after this is Bilal Muhammad after this fight. I mean, for me, that's a personal fight. For me, that's a fight that was literally over 10 years in the making between he and I. And right now, with what's at stake as far as like getting into title contention, I feel like that's a fight that makes a lot of sense. So, like I said, without looking too far ahead, Gilbert Burns on Saturday. If it perfect world scenario, will be that.
What's personal about that fight for you?
Just the history of it. Like, we both came up in the Chicago fight scene together way back in like 2008, 2010. So to be back here 15 years later, still have that fight be something that hasn't happened yet, will be like coming full circle for me.
Where do you find success on Saturday night?
Everywhere. I mean, to be honest with you, I really love this matchup. I mean, I feel like I match up great against Gilbert. He's a tough dude for sure. His last fight definitely showed that he's not a guy that's going to fold and quit by any means. But I know I can bring that pressure. I know I can put him on that pressure where he looks for a way out, and look forward to bring that to him on Saturday night.
You know, some might look at this and say Gilbert's going to try to get it on the ground. You know, they might think that maybe he has a better ground game. Is the plan to keep the fight standing? And what do you think of his striking? And do you find that he's equally dangerous on the ground and standing?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's pretty well-rounded. I mean, and that's the thing that made this fight camp so interesting, because I couldn't, just focus on one area of it. Like, I've seen him knock guys out, seen him win decision. I've seen him submit guys. So knowing that he's pretty well-rounded, knowing that he's not going to quit easily, knowing all those things going into this fight, definitely forced me to kind of hold myself accountable in training camp. I mean, I literally went through and tried to put myself through the most uncomfortable scenarios possible. Like, I mean, I even spent some of this camp training out in Philadelphia with guys like Sean Brady and Jeremiah Wells, just because I know the pressure those guys bring. I know their fighting style and that kind of thing. So with the way I prepare for this fight, both physically and mentally, I don't really care where it goes. I'm very confident I can get it done.
You know, I'm sure you visualize and you've seen other events that have taken place here. You know, when the American goes in there, you know, all the chants and all the cheers, is that sort of thing going to fire you up? And what are you expecting, and how is that going to feel walking into that arena that night?
It's going to feel great. I mean, the best thing about it is, like, whether it's screaming Vat Maliku or whatever else they're going to scream, I don't speak Portuguese, so I have no idea what they're saying. So to me, it was just like, oh, yeah, they love me. Just kind of like making that chant your own kind of thing. You can either let it be one of those, like, oh, man, what are they saying? Or it's like, I don't know what they're saying, but they sound like they love me, so I'm going to go with that and let it fire me up on fight night.
I know you said you're just kind of getting here, you're getting tired, but have you got a chance are you planning to get over to the beach and try to, you know, relax a little bit? And what are the plans for the downtime leading up to the fight?
For me, it's all about rest. I mean, I definitely made over to the beach a little bit earlier this week, but mainly it's all about rest. I mean, every moment that I'm not training, I'm resting here this week. Like I said, I know what's at stake. I know this is a big opportunity for me, and I don't want to just come over here and squander the opportunity, so to speak. So I'm literally taking every step possible to be in the best place, both mentally and physically, going into this fight on Saturday.
Awesome. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Hey, no. Like you said, you fought here in Rio 3 times. What advice would you give the other non-Brazilian fighters that are going to fight Saturday for the first time here?
Don't use Google Translate. I mean, at the end of the day, they're gonna chant all type of things at you. If you don't know what they're saying, it can't really affect you. It's almost like you would tell your kid going to school, like, "Hey, sticks and stones may break my bones, words never hurt." It's almost like the same kind of thing. Where like, yeah, they're screaming at everything else. They're really excited for the hometown guy to win. Of course, they should be. But at the end of the day, like, you have no idea what they're saying anyway. Why let it affect you one way or the other?
There's this mistake about fighting in Rio, in Brazil in general. How worse it is? Is it worse than like fighting Kelvin Gastelum in Mexico, Ponzinibbio in Argentina, Craig White in Liverpool? Is this like much the same?
Yeah, for me, it's all the same. Like, I'm not one of those guys that comes off as disrespectful by any means. Like, I appreciate the fans, whether they're cheering for me or not. I'm always been super appreciative, super respectful towards them. So I'm not a guy that kind of walks into these quote-unquote hostile territories and have to look over his back, so to speak. And I think, like, carrying that kind of energy, it just allows me to go in there and kind of focus on the task at hand. I never have to worry about, like, oh, I flicked off the crowd. Maybe someone's going to come slap me at dinner time or breakfast. It's something I've never done or whatever. So though it's always been like rooting against you, so to speak, there's always been the crowd on the other guy's side kind of thing. But I never felt as if I was like completely out of it, so to speak. So like even in going to Mexico to beat Kelvin Gastelum, going to England to beat Craig White, it's always been like chance afterwards supporting what I've done and that kind of thing. And that's kind of what I focus on more so than all the negative things that may happen. Just kind of show up, be respectful, get the job done, and you'll win some fans along the way.
You went into fighting in Rio, and those losses were against Damian Maia and Sergio Moraes. They are both jiu-jitsu guys. How do you compare Gilbert Burns' jiu-jitsu to theirs? Like, Gilbert Burns is a more complete fighter. Like, his stand-up is better than the other one. But how do you compare?
Yeah, he's definitely more well-rounded than those other two guys. But like for me, I feel like all those experiences kind of brought me to this point here. Like even if I go back and look at the Sergio Moraes fight to the David Maia fight, David Maia was arguably a better grappler than Sergio Moraes. And going into that fight, it was literally the exact same submission that got caught in the Sergio Moraes fight. David Maia attempted it in our fight, and I was able to recognize and defend it. Unfortunately, I couldn't defend the second, third one, but I was able to actually recognize that and defend it and move on from that fight or whatever. So definitely showed a little bit of growth in the right direction. So like I said, being 1-2 in Rio, more than confident I'll make it 2-2 on Saturday night.
Hello, Neil. How are you? Enio Ferreira for ESPN Sur and Somos MMA. You already have the record for most wins on the welterweight division. What's next for you on the 175 pounds of UFC?
So for me, the best way to explain it is like the best way I've heard it explained when it comes to like setting goals and looking at your future is like you aim for the moon. In case you miss, you still end up amongst the stars. And I'm not saying I'm going to aim for the moon with the intent to miss and up amongst the stars. I'm going to aim for the moon with the intent of full on hitting it. For me, that moon is being a UFC champion, and that's what I'm going for. At the end of my career, 5 years from now, 6 years from now, whenever that may come, if I just happen to be like a guy with records and all these credentials on his belt, great. That'd be a great accomplishment. But for right now, for me, the big goal still remains being a UFC champion.
My last one, you already fought in South America. The last time was in Buenos Aires, Argentina. What do you like more, Rio or Buenos Aires?
Rio is definitely way better than me. I'm not just saying because I'm here, but there's an actual based-off experience. I mean, I just love the culture here a lot more than I did in Argentina. I just feel like this is more of my vibe than it was in Argentina.
Thank you very much.
Yep, no problem.